Castle Green South Lawn and Garden proposal. This is the current view of the South Lawn. This is the proposed view, a rose garden. Here's before and after. One with boxwood hedges, one without, and a classic park bench as a focal point down at the end. But let's begin with the history of the space. The history of the space, the history of the hotel, the history of the very city we live in, Pasadena, the city of roses. It was roses that brought people to the Hotel Green. The Tournament of Roses, the Rose Parade, where patrons left the snows of Boston, New York, Chicago, packed their steamer chests, got on the Pullman train, and came to the Hotel Green for that beauteous parade. It was promoted and planned in the ballroom in the very earliest phases to bring people to the midwinter to stay for the season. The Rose Parade, where roses bloomed on New Year's Day, where they watched from their balconies in the rose garden of the South Lawn, went back to their rooms and stayed for the season, the warm winter season of Pasadena, the city of roses. Ah, the city of roses, where roses were planted profusely around town, though I wonder if a single rose was left in Pasadena by the 2nd of January that hadn't been picked for a float in the parade. But let's take a look at the roses in our own garden along the southern facade of the Hotel Green. Here in the 19-teens, we can see roses and boxwoods running the length of the hotel's southern garden. The rose behind the chauffeured car we can see continuing to the roses along the veranda. And then we can see the roses along the veranda continuing on along the sun porch, where they extend the length of the hotel's southern facade. It is this historic rose hedge that I would like to bring back. But bring back in the context of a changed space. 100 years ago, the South Lawn was an open space, visible to the street. Now, a vine-covered fence makes the space into a more private enclosure. So I would like to bring back the historic rose hedge along the sun porch, but also extend it along the fence, which will create a three-sided room of delightful fragrance and harmonious color. So here's the rose garden design and layout. Bring back the historic hedge, continue it around the west and south side of the lawn to create a semi-enclosed garden with symmetry, harmony, and balance. And here's the color scheme. Selecting roses in hues that are in harmony with the Castle Green's apricot cream stucco, terracotta orange roof tiles and window frames, and dark green trim. Those harmonious colors move from pale yellow to apricot, soft orange to red. The harmonious hues draw the viewer through the garden towards the focal point, a classic park bench at the end. And here are the rose varieties. David Austin roses are a favorite of gardens like the Huntington for their health, full petal count, beautiful fragrance, and repeat flowering. Most flowering shrubs and old rose varieties will bloom only once, usually in the spring or early summer. These roses will repeat bloom up to 10 months of the year. All these varieties I've selected are from the Huntington Gardens featured selection of David Austin roses. Here's some pictures I've taken at the Huntington in the last 2 weeks of the roses in full bloom. Our first one is the Lady of Shalott. This first picture was taken 2 weeks ago, the second 2 days ago. Notice the wonderful transition from orange to rose. Here we have Lady of Shalott merging into a white flower that is similar to Litchfield Angel, which is slightly more cream but was only just beginning to bud, but it's very similar to this white flower. Here we have the beautiful Tess of the D'Urbervilles with an intoxicating old rose fragrance. And here we have the sublime Grace Rose with that wonderful transition from the soft rosy creams to the oranges. A wonderful variety to plant next to Lady of Shalott. But here we have it next to Golden Celebration. Look how the Huntington has placed these two together, moving from that beautiful pink into yellow. Here's Golden Celebration 2 weeks ago with an intensity, and here it is 2 days ago, subtle and buttery. And just beginning to bloom, the vigorous Malvern Hill climbing the pergola on the walk to the tea room. And finally, our classic park bench. Here's a basic breakdown of the cost of the roses. This doesn't include the park bench or the boxwood hedges. It's just a basic breakdown of the roses and from the quantity selected in the design, including topsoil, wood chips, and fertilizer in a phase 1 planting. And here's the proposed implementation schedule for the roses. With repair work scheduled for the sun porch windows and gutters, a spring planting of roses could begin along the south and west sides of the lawn in a phase 1 planting. Roses from the north side of the lawn below the windows and gutters can be planted in containers this spring as well so that they can root and mature while set back from the work until work on the sun porch windows and gutters is complete. Then transplanted from containers in a phase 1B planting, which hopefully would be late spring, if not early summer. And then gravel removal for seeding of the grass lawn if desired, planting of boxwood hedges, all those other things, companion plants such as seasonal annuals and perennials in a mixed border can be left to a phase 2 planting at a later date to be reviewed and implemented the following spring, or in the case of a winter lawn, with the return of cool weather in the autumn. So that's all I got. Thanks so much.